because I know that when you did the poker B-roll, and it was just you and I can't remember his name. It just went, wow. Oscar, that's it. When you did that, you just had this idea. Hello, Oscar. I know you can't hear me, but I know when you did that, you just had this idea and you set up this small space, and then you did another one. You did those B-rolls, and then you went to Rivals. And so there's a question I got about directing and any advice or courses that I would recommend for people. My question for you is, because my background is I've always worked with large teams, being on set. So I've done directing, I've done cinematography, I've done all these things over my career. But what's your advice for directing like talent, or the way you think about when you're on, because you're there's a new term that I heard called a SHREDITOR, where you're the shooter, the editor, the director, and the producer. Like you do all of that. So you have to be thinking about, how is this going to edit?
Jury, and executioner.
Yeah, exactly. I heard it recently, and it made me think, because like I said, my background is coming from being on set and having my role that people look to me and like, no, you have to make sure that the lighting is right, or you have to make sure that the framing is right if I'm camera, or when I'm directing, it's like my focus is on the actors, but I need to be able to communicate with all the other departments to let them know what we're trying to achieve. Like how do you approach being on the sets that you've been on and directing? Like what advice would you give people that want to know how to get the most out of?
I think that the talent is never going to be better than you are directing them, because you cannot expect the talent to arrive at a set. For example, if I'm going to take the poker B-roll, we spent well over 6 hours shooting that, and that is like a 45-second clip. And the thing with me and Oscar, for example, we have known each other for so long, but what we did then was that I directed him in every single move, and then we talked about it. And I think that is the most important thing, because if something does not feel good for the talent, then you have to find a way for the talent to portray your vision in a way that they feel comfortable with. And that has kind of been the same for everything. I mean, like when we did the Office B-roll, Jonas, who was the main character of that, he had never acted in front of the camera. So I had to tell him my vision in detail and show what I wanted him to do. So I took like the paper, I showed, do like this, throw it up, do like that, and do this. Because when you do that, the talent also starts to feel more comfortable in front of the camera, because you are showing that you are comfortable in the situation that they are supposed to portray, So I think that when you are having someone that you're shooting, you should put yourself in their shoes and try to explain to them what you are seeing. Because seeing a camera and trying to perform in front of the camera, that's hard. And it's even harder when you don't know the vision that the person that is shooting you wants to have.
Yeah, and that's literally the type of advice that I kind of give to people that are just getting started in it, where try to watch all the behind the scenes of the directors that you want to emulate, that you like their approach and how they do it. And it's really about communicating to every aspect, to the actors, to the camera, to do that, and to communicate exactly what you're trying to achieve. But it's more than that. It's also having that sense of anticipating where people may need a little bit more guidance or advice. And if they're not clear on it, because a lot of people will be like, oh, okay. And you just sense that they don't understand what you're trying to communicate. And it really does come down, because every aspect, like when you write, it's about communicating. When you're talking about your idea, it's about communicating. So learn how to communicate in the language that to the people that you're talking to, because then they'll understand you so much clearer than trying to talk in your own verbiage. And then they're like,
oh yeah.
So yeah, just understand who you're talking to and talk to them in their language that they'll understand. That's really the advice that I would give.
And I mean, like, as someone who has shot multiple like short sequences with non-actors, because I think that not even Oscar, the Office B-roll, or the Campari B-roll, or the Woodworker B-roll, none of them has been like in front of the camera before.
Yeah.
But performing doesn't have to be something that you have to have years of practice of. It's just something that you have to show off as the operator, director, and shredditor, or whatever you call it.